Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Energetic Shift podcast. And I have got an extra special guest with me today. So I am doing this because I wanted to celebrate reaching 1,000 downloads on Spotify. And I thought, what better way than to bring my husband on, because that's how radgy I am. So it actually comes at a really, really good time, to be fair, because we've just literally got back from Bali last week. From renewing our vows. We've been together for 20 years, married for 12, and we've had an amazing 3 weeks in Bali. So I wanted to bring Clint on because I talk about him a lot in my content and with my clients. To you guys, you've heard me talk about my husband, Clint, before. So you kind of know him through me anyway. So I thought it'd be really good. You can see the man in the frame now, and also you can hear from him today. And because I talk a lot about how Clint has supported me and been the backbone of my business for so long. But also I wanted to bring the angle of this podcast episode to highlight the questions that I get quite a lot from my clients and my audience. And also the complaints I get as well from women who are not feeling that support from their partners or their husbands, or, they're not getting, what I've had. And they want to know how do they change that? And how is that possible? And how does Clint support me? And so I thought that we're just going to have a normal conversation. This is not it's not a relationship podcast episode. It's not about me and Clint, so to speak, and our story, although we might touch upon bits and bobs a bit, but it's more to help you guys for yourself. And also maybe you might want to send this to your partners as well. So your partners can listen to it and maybe get some tips from the man himself who has supported me for 20 years. So without further ado, hello.
Hi.
He's super nervous because he doesn't do this shit. This is
first podcast ever.
First podcast ever, absolutely. So I'm a little bit nervous myself in the fact that I don't know where this is going to go because, we curate our content, or I, as a business owner, you curate your content to make sure that it hits the nail on the head with the people that are going to read it or listen to it or, watch it. However, Clint's brain isn't wired like that. So literally anything could come out of his mouth right now. What we get quite a lot is we get from lots of people that we've met over the years, we get couple goals, don't we? People say to us all the time, oh my God, you guys, and couple goals, and he just supports you. And it's just amazing how you guys are. And obviously, Clint will appear on my socials as, when I share him, and you're a business owner yourself, right?
Yep.
So you obviously have your own socials, but you're not as vocal and as visible as I am. And he's a self-confessed technophobe as well, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's get into it.
Let's go.
So we actually had a little bit of a convo the other night. So it just came to me. I was like, hey, fancy being on my podcast? And he was like, if you want, babe, because that's been pretty much.
It's the stock answer.
It's the stock answer. Why do you think it's a stock answer?
Happy wife, happy life.
Okay. That's quite a old fashioned traditional statement, right? As in and actually let's go there, because that's something that you have been known to be quite old fashioned, little bit misogynistic with your views in the past, we'll say. So we've had to go through quite a lot of ups and downs in that respect, because I'm constantly growing and evolving. And obviously you guys who are listening, kind of probably know me enough by now to know that I go against the grain. The system is not for me. And, traditional views are not my views, right? So to be 20 years in with a guy that had a very traditional upbringing and has very traditional views, how have you found that? Because I've literally gone completely rebel against that, haven't I, to be fair?
Interesting.
Go on then, in what way?
Well, to be honest, it's not a big deal, is it? I mean, I say happy wife, happy life, but I know it's a general term, but that is the goal, isn't it? As a partner, to work both ways.
To please
you
partner,
want each other to be happy, you're both happy, you're both content, and everything's plain sailing. So.
However, if I'm happy, I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm also happy. But also, if you're not happy, I'm like,
well, I think
okay, do something about it.
Unless you are asking me to do something that's completely ridiculous and unrealistic, what's the harm?
Okay.
What's the harm?
Okay.
If it makes you happy and it doesn't hurt me in any way, why wouldn't I want to?
Okay. We are very, I suppose.
I'm very laid back and easy.
That's what I was going to say. So we are very compatible in our I suppose if you want to look at astrology or our star signs, I'm an Aries, Clint's a Capricorn. And we are very much the typical, Capricorn and Aries, and we do gel together very well. You are very, very laid back in your views. Sometimes to my dismay, because it frustrates the fuck out of me that you can't make a decision, that you can't
take the time over it. What's the rush? But sure, you're right.
Whereas I have done it before you've even give it one thought, haven't you? Yeah. And that's so but that enables me, I suppose, if you look at that enables me as an ambitious, driven, motivated, ever evolving, person, human being, to just continue to do that. And you support me behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, I think it works for both of us, because your ability to make a quick decision and just plow into something head on gives me a kick up the arse sometimes when I'm deliberating for too long over a decision. Yeah. But I think I also temper you, calm you down a little bit when you're a little bit too gung-ho. So it's a benefit.
That is true, to be fair. Over the years there's been many of those, both of those types of things where I have been super wild with my ideas or wanting to do something or spontaneous. And I can have these ideas and these big wild dreams and ideas. And actually in that moment, I don't actually give any sort of consideration to anything and anyone else. Like I want it and I want it yesterday. However, I'm supposed to be a responsible mother, wife, a homeowner, have a family, all of that sort of stuff. So you kind of do, you will make me consider those things, like, and take a look at the whole picture, whereas I can get a little bit tunnel vision sometimes. So you support me in that way as well, because this is the thing. It's not just about allowing me to go off and do whatever it is that I want to do. That's not how support works. Support works in lots and lots of different ways. And I think over the 20 years that we've been together, we've figured out very slowly, maybe, if you look at the 20 years, 2 decades, but we've figured out along the way what type of support each other gives each other.
We've naturally grown into it, haven't we?
Yeah.
We're in a good spot. I sort of know what you need, you know what I need. We both know when the other person is maybe veering off path a little bit. And so it's become a natural thing, I think, for us. We just do it naturally.
We have evolved into knowing what each other wants and needs, for sure. But I think that also has come from the both of us having this drive to just get better and better ourselves. So we both had a council estate upbringing. We both come from similar environments. However, yours was a little bit more unpredictable than mine was. So we'll talk about that in a little second. But what we've learned by being driven and motivated to be better people consistently has been that we've been self-aware. We spent a lot of time on ourselves and worked on ourselves over the years, as well as worked on each other. So that's enabled us to be self-aware. But then also, because we put that time into us, we also know that it's very important to put that time into each other. So I see and I hear a lot of my clients that will get really frustrated at their partners not supporting them, and they're discussing that with me, but they're not communicating with their partner. They're not talking to their partner. They're not having those difficult conversations. They're not sitting their partner down and allowing their partner to understand or to know even what they want and need and what support they want and need. So how are they expected to, nobody's a mind reader, right? And obviously this works either way around as well. There's been many times where we've sat down and gone, okay, what do you need? What do I need? And vice versa. And there is absolutely seasons. So in a relationship, for example, and this is any relationship, this is a working relationship, a business relationship, a friendship, a romantic relationship. It's people think that it's supposed to be 50-50, and it's not.
No.
It's about being able to make the 100% between yourselves and to pick up the slack when the other is lacking, right? So if you're like this week, for example, you've been knackered, you've worked extra hours, you need to get a job done in your business, it's important to you, etc. So obviously I pick up more slack at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit more of the emotional support. We've had a few little chats this week, few little free coaching sessions, there's been times where, so this week, Clint's been running on probably 30%, and I've picked up the 70. So, and then there's times when it's the other way around, like so many times when it's the other way around. And as long as you get that back and forth, if there's always going to be that one person that is picking up the slack and the other person is just not, then there's something amiss there. And that obviously needs a hell of a lot more communication and conversation. And you need to look at that. But one thing that I say consistently, and if you're a client of mine, you will absolutely know this, they either grow with you or they don't. And that's anybody in your world, whether it's a partner, whether it's a friend, they either grow with you or they don't. And there's only a certain amount that you can be in front of somebody else growth wise before you lose sight of them, and vice versa, before they lose sight of you. So then eventually they drop out of your life. And, you know, from a spiritual point of view, you'll know this, like people, when we go through up levels, when we elevate in life and business, you'll find that there's people that are there to get you to one level, and then there's people that, you know, drop off, and then there's new people that come in to take you through to the next level. So it's that seasonal, you know, there's definitely people in your life that are seasonal, and sometimes that's a marriage, sometimes that's a partner, sometimes it is. And you have to understand that and accept that. And there's so many people as well that are, and I'm going to say this as well, like just flogging a dead horse. If you've tried everything to the point where you have communicated, this person understands and knows what you want and need, but still doesn't match it, and vice versa. If you cannot give your partner what they need, then it's time to have some really serious conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, we've had those, right?
Yeah, lots of times. Yeah.
We've definitely had those conversations over the time. I mean, Clint nearly left me. Clint nearly left me when we went
more often than should be.
More often. Far more often than I realized, obviously. But when the last business, right? So, you know, you if you've been here a while, you'll know that my first business was in network marketing, and I loved that business until I never. However, the last 18 months, and I say this, I've said this before, I stayed in that business 18 months longer than I should have done. I was flogging a dead horse. For sure, in that business, and it got to the point where my income had got that low that I was working probably quadruple the amount of hours, time, effort that I was putting into my business, but the income was just not coming in. And if you know anything about network marketing, you know that it's not always on your own efforts, so you'll get that. So I'd quadrupled my output, but my income had dropped, and that was putting a shit ton of pressure on you, weren't it?
Yeah.
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 And you know, Clinton, you were really supportive.
I was close to leaving, you know. I weren't going to leave.
Yeah,
maybe. Just a bit fed up.
A bit fed up. But Clint, and again, you'll have heard me talk about this. Clint gave me the anti-goal. So he said to me, something's going to have to change, Danielle. This pressure is too much. I can't support us. I can't continue to support us financially for much longer. And that was when, you know, I'd made the decision that, okay, I was going to come away from the network marketing business and really pursue something of my own. Obviously, I loved coaching women in that business. I loved this. So I literally retrained. But obviously, I knew that it wasn't going to be an overnight. Like, I weren't going to, just because I made the decision, I was going to start earning a full-time income tomorrow, right? So I was like, please then just give me, and he was like, I can give you 6 months. And like, that's it. Like, I can do this for another 6 months. But if you're not earning enough money to bring some money into the house in the next 6 months, you are going to have to go and get a job. It weren't like I'm leaving you, but you know, I'm a drama queen, aren't I? So it was like, you're gonna have to get a job. And that was like, in fact, I probably would have preferred it if you left me than having to go and get a proper job, because then at least I could have gone on benefits, right? I wouldn't have had to go back to work. But that was the anti-goal for me. And that was probably the biggest bit of support in a very backwards way, you know, like roundabout way that you gave me over the years. So sometimes it is the hard things as well. So like I said, support comes in so many different ways. And that was it was the hard thing. You were really...
You just didn't want to fail, did you? You didn't want to, you don't like to fail at anything, so you didn't want to quit it. But it was a pointless task at that point, and you couldn't see that. You just needed to be able to see it. And as soon as you did, then the decision was made and everything changed.
Look at me now.
Look at you now.
But also, look at me now. Look at me now, girl. Look at where I am now, obviously, for doing that. So like, obviously I have you to thank for that, because I wouldn't be here right now.
So it's important to support one another, of course it is, but it's also important to take care of yourself. And it gone on for as long as it had gone on. It got to a point where it really affected me, so I couldn't continue to do it forever.
Yeah.
But you needed to be aware of that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Not a nice conversation to have, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Okay. So I also want to touch upon, while I've got you, like, obviously I have changed so much. I mean, I know we both have, but like, I have changed so much over the years, and I changed probably a lot faster first in our relationship. And I think that's obviously where we had a lot of butt heads, obviously at the beginning, because I wanted to do all this new shit that I was experiencing and seeing that was possible out there. Like I feel like the first business we punched a hole in my cardboard box that we was living in. And I saw a whole new world out there. So then I was like wanting to do things and go places and see new things and spend more money and invest more. And I was changing my views and my values and everything, my opinions and stuff was changing. And I was starting to experience and learn about this new ways. And I mean, the whole spiritual stuff as well. Like I was a super skeptical person. As much as I now know I've always been intuitive, I didn't know that at the time. And I definitely didn't think I was spiritual or had any faith in anything. But like I was starting to learn about all of this and study all of this and experience all this. So I was changing thick and fast, weren't I?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I know the answer to this, but obviously share this with my audience, please. Like, did you ever think, fuck, like she's going to leave me, she's not going to want me anymore, or there's going to be something like that? Like, were there ever any sort of like jealousy or fear maybe, or something that maybe come up for you that was like I don't recognize this person anymore, and I don't know if we're going to last?
Not that I don't recognize this person anymore. I mean, we all change, right? But you're still fundamentally the same person. But yeah, amazing business adventures and super, of course. But I'm self-aware enough to know that's my own bullshit. Like we've all got our own insecurities. And I think when them things arise and you are in a position of nobody likes change, do they? Everybody staying where you are is safe, it's comfortable. And we all think straight away the worst case scenario when something new crops up. But you need to, one, be aware of yourself and rein yourself in, and be aware of, are your concerns genuine or are they silly insecurities? And if they are, well, you've got to deal with that yourself. You can't project that onto your partner. I read this thing the other day, and it were a young guy had asked his grandfather what the key to a long, happy marriage was, right? And the guy had said, you've got to learn to re-love your partner.
Yeah.
The woman you meet at 20 is a different woman at 30.
I think I've seen this.
Different woman at 40, 50. And that's true for all of us. We all grow, we all change through life experience, through age, through whatever. You shouldn't expect your partner to be the same person that they were when you met them 10 years later on. We all change, right? So you've got to adapt. And if you love somebody enough that you married them or you've created a life with them, why would you not see a way past that?
Yeah.
Why would you not be able to read it for long haul, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to see a way around that. When we worry about changing, we see the negatives. You got to flip that on its head. So life might be all right now, but if something new comes along and we try something different, what's the worst that can happen? Like it fails, but everything else is pretty much the same. You've still got your normal work, What if it succeeds?
Yeah.
What if this new change is the thing that turns your life round the next? We should all want to improve. We should all want to grow. I know I do. We all want more out of life constantly. That's healthy, right? Yeah. So why would you not support your other half in those situations? Yeah. Why would you not want to see what they can do? And not only that, if they're not happy where they are and they want to do this new thing or go down this new road and it lights them up, surely you want that for them.
Because they're going to be a better person for you, right?
If they're happier, you're happier, vice versa, And also, see, the change in you early on was so drastic from the sort of career you were in, which it was just a standard job.
I loved the work that I did. I just didn't love working for somebody else.
And the main reason we went to work back then was just to pay the bills, to make money. So then to see you light up and be driven about something and really want something and see you growing as a person, achieving these new things, setting new goals for you. Well, it's inspiring. It inspired me. So why would I not want to do that? Yeah.
And it's so these are the questions. And we had this little brief conversation about this exact thing the other night when we was batting back and forth exactly what the angle of the podcast was going to be, the episode was going to be. You said this, it's like common sense that if you love your partner, it should just come easy to you. And there's so many people that struggle. There's so many people that are out there that are so triggered by their partner's success or growth or evolution or whatever. And
it's fear, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's fear of the unknown. But also from the experience now and from my point of view, your growth created growth within me. Seeing you do certain things made me want to try that. Seeing you work on personal development made me do bits and realize things about myself that were holding me back that I didn't realize before. So your growth has been my growth. It's not been something to fear. Yeah. But my initial, well, what if? But none of the fear of the unknown is ridiculous because we all do it. But none of those things that I was scared of have happened. Yeah. and loads of other great benefits come
Yeah.
from it. So
Yeah.
it's just silly
Yeah.
self-talk. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
Absolutely. And I think the key here what for you was the fact that you were self-aware, and I think your natural personality and laid backness allowed you to, check in with yourself and be like, okay, this triggering me, this triggering this fear, or it's triggering this, lacking me. What can I do about that? Rather than, your personality being, the total opposite, or fiery, or whatever, that's then caused a load of, aggro that didn't necessarily need to happen. And I suppose that's then, if a person's like that, they need to check in with themselves. But
don't get me wrong though, like I am naturally, or I would have said I was naturally averse to trying new things. Safe where I am, I like it where I am, and
risk averse, yeah.
growth is uncomfortable, and I don't like to be uncomfortable. I don't see what people enjoy about it. However, from what we've seen, the only way to grow and gain is through discomfort.
Absolutely.
So, and if you're in a position where you're trying to hold your partner back through your own insecurities, then if you love them that much, would you want to risk losing them by making them miserable? Like, right, I want this to work. I love this person. I'm going to go with it rather than against it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like, there's reasons for, again, it's like everything. So I suppose if you're listening to this as a woman who is, not being necessarily supported by their partner or whatever, then what is it that you can figure out about yourself as well? Because like, there's been times over the past where I've had to check in with myself. Am I being too selfish? Do I have to take more responsibility on the commitment that I've made in a marriage? Somebody that's a part of a family and a unit, because that requires compromise, right? So when you tie yourself into a family life or a partnership, then there is absolutely compromise with every relationship for sure. So there is sometimes where I've had to check in with myself. There's also for that the responsibilities and commitments that I've made, but also like, am I communicating enough? Am I communicating exactly what I need, what I want? Am I asking the right questions to you? What do you need? What do I need to do for you in order for you to support me? And it's being aware instead of just being sometimes, and listen, I've been there, like a petulant fucking child where I've just expected it, and I've expected him to be a mind reader, and I've expected him to just know exactly what to do for me at every given moment. And sometimes it's hard because I don't even know what I want, and I just expect him to know. So you have to, again, you just have to check in with yourself. So if you listen to this as, one of my audience or clients, then check in with yourself. What can you do in order to support your partner, to support you? I think what I'm getting from you, Clint, is that you are saying that there's a lot of self-awareness that needs to be had. You've got to look at your own triggers and reasons for maybe why you're triggered. And we know for you, and we'll touch upon that as well. Like I said earlier, like Clint's upbringing was a lot more volatile and unpredictable than mine was. Even though we were both from a council estate, I had a very stable, consistent upbringing in the fact that like my mum and dad they're still together now. They've been together for 35 plus years. And I had that stability and consistency of knowing exactly, we had a routine. It was so predictable, my upbringing. So it was safer in that respect. So I've grown to be like, I can take risks because I feel that safety in, trying something new. But Clint, obviously, you developed and created safety in yourself because you didn't have that growing up, did you?
No, my mum and dad split when I was young. She was trying to bring up 5 kids on her own, working
5 jobs,
cleaning jobs and different bits and bobs here and there around school and around everything else. And so there was never any money. There was sometimes not a lot of food. So yeah, it was very unpredictable. So I didn't want that for my family. So I approached my work life as in rinse and repeat. Get good at something, continue to do it, regular wages, same money every week. I know what I can spend, I know what I can't spend. I wanted that security for my children and myself. Yeah, so I dread to think how many opportunities I missed before self-development, which obviously come from you. So yeah. So
if you are listening to this and you've got a story similar to Clint's, as in like, there's a reason for you being triggered, or there's a reason for you not being able to support your partner, or being triggered by your partner's success or whatever, then maybe have a check-in with yourself and ask yourself.
I think that's the main thing, isn't it? Self-awareness. It's normal when anything frustrates, triggers, angers you. Your first response is to blame the person that's created that emotion. But half of the time, or I would say probably 80% plus of the time, the problem lies with you. Why am I reacting this way to such a small thing? And if you're overreacting to something, if you think about it, that's not really a big deal. Why? That's a you thing.
Yeah. This is quite funny. It's like you live with a coach, isn't it? You've got all this.
I wouldn't have had a clue about any of this, but like, over the period of our relationship, I've learnt these things and I've become a lot more so, and I'm aware of silly little things that would trigger me or irritate or an unnatural response to something.
Yeah.
And they were all just my issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and it's based on the whole like self-limiting belief and the experience that we've, that we've gone through beforehand. And this is the thing, like not everybody, especially if you're not in the personal development realm, if you're not in the business world and going through that self-development, you're not going to be aware of this. And that's definitely something that I've encouraged you to do over the years. And because I knew that actually if Clint grew, and it weren't about changing you, it was just about sometimes changing your views, because they were very old fashioned, were very traditional. And I knew that obviously, because I know you and I know your story, and I know it would become very apparent to me that a lot of it was suppose trauma based or based on not very good experiences as a child. So I knew why he had the views that he had, and I knew that wasn't necessarily healthy as an adult.
You're brought up in a box, aren't you?
Yeah.
You only learn what you're exposed to. So if you're not exposed to a great deal, what you learn is limited.
Exactly. So I think more than anything, whoever's listening to this, the more open-minded you can be, the better as well.
I think personal development for anybody is a must. It's a must.
Oh, for sure.
Even if it starts off, which it did for me, as you're doing it to try and understand your partner or for your partner or whatever, what it does for you yourself as an individual far outweighs the benefits for somebody else. It changed my outlook towards business. I'm naturally an overthinker, and there's been lots of times I've missed opportunities because of that. And then through this, I've started to, even though it's uncomfortable, try new things, try new services. And every time I worry and I'm scared about it. And what if this could, and every time it works out.
Yeah.
So,
that's, I mean, that's a key takeaway, right? Like it's exposure therapy, right?
Yeah.
The only way to get used to anything, because it's based on our nervous system, right? So like Clint said earlier, your nervous system is based on safety. And so you just want to keep yourself safe, and familiarity is safety to your nervous system. It doesn't care about your goals, dreams, or what it is that you're going for. It's either good or not. Is this familiar or not? And obviously, if it's familiar, it's safe to your nervous system. So anything that's of change or newness or different, your nervous system immediately thinks it's danger because it feels uncomfortable. So it's then the key there then is to work through it. If something feels uncomfortable to you, if your partner growing feels uncomfortable to you, if your partner not supporting you feels uncomfortable to you, how can you work through that? What can you do? And obviously, there's always comes a time when you get to the point where you feel like you're in a dead horse, but you've got to know then what your limits are with that. You've got to know
self-awareness.
Yeah, it's self-awareness again.
And it's time to call it a day, which is another important lesson.
Yeah. You've got to know when it's time to exit a relationship, a friendship, or whatever it is. And this comes this podcast comes after the friendship call podcast episode that I did last week, where I talked about like as you level up, as you grow, as you develop, people do fall out of your world, and friendships that you think are everything, partnerships that you think are everything, relationships, marriages that you think are everything could be not forever. They could just be the seasonal thing. So it's having that self-awareness and having that communication level between you and the other person to know that you have both done everything in your capacity before you know whether that's it or not. And I think that's it, because also people grow at different speeds. I would say, as much as we definitely grow together, I do a lot more personal development work than Clint, for sure.
You've always been off in front.
I'm always leading the way. I'm the one in front, and Clint's tottering behind. But he's not that far. People grow, and there is, and please don't take this the wrong way. Like women do grow faster than men. Like they get things faster. Which it's in our makeup, right? So generally, a woman will, and go that little bit further in front. But it's okay. It's not about being in front or behind or anything like that. It's just doing a little bit more.
Sometimes you need one to start.
Yeah.
One to get it or follow behind. I also think where we come from, it's a bit of a stereotype, but northern men are very like self-development sounds like therapy. What's that shit?
Yeah.
Absolutely how I used to think when you first started doing it. I'd be rolling my eyes behind your back thinking, what's she doing? But listen.
But now what do you do? Meditate, have therapy.
Yeah.
Do all the things.
Do all the things, yeah. and
It
they all
works.
make me feel better.
Yeah, they all make you feel better. And that's it. We had a massive row actually, like on that point when I first started with the spiritual development stuff, like many moons. So we was on holiday, weren't we, when I'd made the decision to leave the first business, and we were playing pool, and I remember like I'd already started like I've been doing spiritual stuff for a couple of years at that point in that business. I'd learned about personal development, spirituality, all of that sort of stuff, the universe, manifestation, all of that. And I was like, it made me feel fucking amazing and I loved it, right? And I wasn't trying to push it down anybody's neck. I wasn't trying to make Clint do the spiritual stuff or believe in the spiritual stuff. But what happened and what you used to do when I first started talking about that sort of stuff is like you would shun it. Like, you'd shut it down, and you used to look at me, and girls, you will know this. There'll have been so many times when you've had this in the past from different people where they roll their eyes at you. They're looking at you funny. They're telling you to shut the fuck up. Like,
what a load of bollocks.
What a load of bollocks. Yeah. All of that sort of stuff. Right. And I remember saying to him at the time, look, I don't need you to believe in this, but what I need is to just feel better. And actually, this makes me feel good. So how can it possibly be a bad thing? And we had a little bit we fell out for the night, didn't we? We just weren't.
We'd had a few beers, I think.
We'd had a few beers, but like I was so passionate about the fact that it just made me feel better. And you was just like, it's a load of bollocks, Danielle. It's whatever. Like,
that's sort of nonsense.
It's nonsense, whatever. And it obviously, sometimes it takes something to happen where you need to reach out for something like that, where you need to reach out for personal development, where you need to be, you're kind of shocked into finding a solution for something, an issue that you've come across. And obviously your issue at that time was the COVID situation, right? Where you started really, and so we're only talking like 5-6 years ago. Obviously you had the 5-week off, and then construction went back to work, and it was still rife. And obviously the news was like, the media was awful at the time. And I mean, from then we now don't get involved with current affairs, do we? We don't watch the news or anything like that. But it was so bad that you were getting in, every time you got in the van, you were having a panic attack because you thought you were going to bring COVID back to the house and like kill your wife and kids. It's
only afterwards that we sort of figured out why. And at the time, I couldn't understand where it was coming from, because I'm not in touch with myself enough to understand the feelings. I just, every time I got in the van in the morning,
anxiety,
couldn't breathe.
Yeah,
pure panic.
Yeah, and then that's when you started meditating. So then like Clint needed something, didn't you? It's like a solution. I was like, why don't you meditate? Like, you just need to calm your nervous system and blah blah blah. And then you did, and it helped. And you can't explain it. You couldn't explain it, but it is, and that's the whole thing. Yeah,
it did the job. And then I still don't fully understand a lot of the stuff, but I know whenever I've needed anything like that, the things that you've showed me, they've helped.
Yeah.
So whether I get it or not, if it helps,
and you know what? To be honest, right, I would have put money on Clint never being at this level. Like, I actually,
me too, absolutely.
Yeah, I actually would have believed that we would have lived the separate lives together. Like, that's what I would have definitely thought, that we would have lived the separate lives together. I would have continued to do my own thing, and you would have been the proper Yorkshireman at home, and just supporting me the way that you always had. But in the last 6 years, since you have really opened your mind and started experiencing and experimenting with all different forms of personal development and spiritual growth, I think that's what's accelerated our growth together. I think it's pushed us more together. We've got so many more things in common.
Conversations now, just random because we're on a similar page, it's so much better.
Yeah. And that's like after 14 years of being together. So we've been together for 14 years when this really started changing. So like over the last 6 years, we have really grown together. So don't ever think that people can't change. And again, it's not like you've completely changed as a person. You are the same person, but your views and your values.
I think for anyone who's reluctant, and that sentence you said a minute ago really struck a chord with me at the time, is that like, you don't have to believe in it, but if it makes you feel better, surely that's a good thing. And then so I've tried loads of things thinking this is probably a load of nonsense, but it's made me feel better.
Yeah.
It's like so when you first started on the network marketing journey and everyone was super positive, and I used to think,
what a load of shit.
Yes.
Cult. It's a cult.
But then whether you feel positive or negative about a situation doesn't change the situation, but feeling positive feels a hell of a lot better. And then from that point, I had arguments with lads at work about it. But doesn't feeling happy feel better than feeling miserable?
Absolutely.
Look on the positives. It feels better.
Yeah.
It's better.
So a big thing for us as well has been like its environment, and it's something that I talk about a lot. And obviously up until, I started in business. So even like Clint obviously has been a business owner far longer than I have actually, but he's been a tradesman. So he's been a tradesman with his own business, like a self-employed, tradesman.
And it's my own job.
Which is very much the same as, a 9-to-5 really. Or was, it's obviously very different now. You are more of a CEO and a business owner, and you run your business like a business owner rather than just being employed inside your own business. We were in the box, right? Like you said, we were in the box. We didn't experience different things, new things. With new people, we went to the same supermarket. So we shopped at the same supermarket. We went to the same local pub. We hung out with the same people every weekend. And it was very much the same thing. And we didn't know what we didn't know, right? But there is a whole world out there. So many different cultures, so many different types of people, so many different things to experience, and life is so amazing. But you don't know that if you're stuck in the same village and with the same people doing the same things all the time.
Blind to the possibilities.
Yeah, it's a little bit like ignorance, like, in a way. So I suppose if you've stumbled across this and you're not far into a personal development journey, or you've spent a lot of time in the same environment with the same people. I had a conversation actually this morning with somebody that's in the dating world, and she's like, I just keep meeting the same shitty old men. And I'm like, where are you hanging out? And she's hanging out in the same places, the same pub in the same village. And I'm like, you're never going to meet anybody new. They're always going to be that caliber of person that hangs out in that place. So you need to go and experience something else. So having that hole punched in our butt, like we then started hanging out with new people. We were going to these business events in different places. I mean, I'd never left Doncaster other than getting on a plane and going to Benidorm, because that was my yearly holiday as a child. But that was kind of it, really. And then basically you just picked up a council estate working class family, and put them in Benidorm. like there was the same place, just with a bit of sun and a pool. And so obviously going to different places in the UK. So like I'd been to London, Birmingham, Wales, Scotland. We were going to all different events with different people.
The places. It's the conversations involved in, seeing the positive, like people talking about what they see for their business in their life, and you're like, what? Like you've got ambitions. I thought you just had to leave school, get a job, pay your bills, bring your kids up, get married, have Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
That's it. Repeat. And to hear these people talk, you goals, and you've got, and that. It just opens your eyes.
But you had lasagna on Sunday afternoon. Like
you didn't have Sunday dinner.
You didn't have Yorkshire puddings and chicken. Like literally that is it. Like just getting out of. So if you're looking at your life and I do the same things day in, day out, grow up in a way.
If you are perfectly happy, if that life for you is the best life it could possibly be, and you don't want or need for anything else, good on you.
See, he's nicer than me.
But most people, if they're honest, crave a little bit more.
Yeah.
And nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing the same shit every day and expect something different to happen. It don't work like that. You've got to do something different to get different results.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. We've got some quick fire questions. Actually, let's just round it up with a
quick fire. I like to overthink.
Stop it. This is exposure therapy. This is making you think quick. Okay, just to end off this, I hope you've liked being a little fly on the wall of mine and my husband's conversations.
She talks more than me.
Far more than Clint.
General life.
Obviously, I talk for a living, right? Clint paints for a living. Well, now Venetian plasterer. Okay, so who's more stubborn?
Day to day, you.
Yeah, actually.
Day to day, you. On more topics, definitely you. But when something really matters to me. If I dig my heels in on something,
and then there's no change. Who pushes the other more?
You push me more.
Yeah. Who's more patient?
Me, definitely.
Absolutely. This is a good one. Who's more likely to say sorry?
Me. And I've never done it just to shut you up.
It's not even in my vocabulary.
You should not be able to say it,
even
when you were wrong. It took you about 3 weeks of sulking, and then you might consider it.
Who's the dreamer?
Ooh. I'm going to say you, as in there's more. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I'm going to say me. I've changed my mind, I think.
So, I would say we both dream, but I think you would have the title of dreamer because more of your dreams stay
A dream.
a dream.
Okay.
Yeah. And whereas mine are like,
that's a slight dig.
yeah,
I'll take it.
you can have that one. And who's the realist?
Me.
Yeah, you're the realist. I live very much in the world of possibilities.
Mhm.
Anything is possible. Okay, what's something you've learned from each other? Oh, this is a good one.
From you, I've learned to go for things a bit more. Like
Fuck it, just do it.
if there's something that I'm interested in, just give it a go, and usually it will work out. Whereas before, it's not for me. No, I can't do that. I'm not supposed to do things like that. So definitely give it a go from you. And I think courage. Like you're braver than me, and seeing you. Because like all these times you talk on stage and I've seen you do things like that, it's always awe-inspiring for me to see that. But I know that doesn't come easy. You don't just walk up there and do it
because you
like a
see
priest.
behind the scenes.
I've seen it before, and something made me that nervous, I would probably not do.
Yeah.
So I have to really want something. Otherwise, if I just think that looks all right, I won't do it. I have to really want it. But you will quite happily go through the discomfort. So yeah, be a little braver, and make quick decisions. Give it a go.
Yeah. Okay. And for me, learning from you is most definitely one of the biggest, first big lessons that just stands out massively is to see things from the other person's point of view. So I really struggled with that. And that's, to be fair, I still do from time to time because I'm an Aries, I'm very emotional, I'm very reactionary, or can be very reactionary, especially way before any sort of personal development. I was an absolute fucking disaster. To be fair, when I look back at who I was beforehand, I was like, oh my God, I don't know how anybody coped with me. So Clint, you always have the ability to be able to put yourself in whoever else it is that you're talking to, arguing with, whatever, me, other person's point of view, and see things from that point of view, whereas I am quite tunnel visioned to my own wants and desires. So I'm like, well, actually I didn't think about it from your point of view or how this would affect you. Obviously, I've learned to do that a lot more now from you, and also patience. Obviously, like your patience is endless.
I'm not about that. I wouldn't say endless.
With me, it is for sure. Like I think you have endless patience with me, and that's. I still do. Again, I'm going through a period of patience testing from the universe at the moment, and I tap into your energy all the time for that because you are so. You have the capacity to do that so easily. So we definitely are like yin and yang, but it works, and that's good for us. That's why I suppose we are the couple goals that people say we are, to be fair, and that's why we've lasted 20 years. Okay, so I hope we've given you some value in that. And we would love to hear your feedback. So if you have been listening to this and it's resonated, or if you've had a laugh, or, there's something, you've got a question.
I think I'm great. You want to hire me for your podcast because I'm such a talker.
That as well, right? I mean, this guy's got some good shit to say. I know that, we know that, but it's always been something. If I'd have asked you this a couple of years ago, you'd have been like, no.
Yeah, I want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But now you were like, happy wife, happy life. You still would have been like, no, that's just not my forte, Danielle.
Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts now, as you know, but I never used to. And a few years ago, I would have thought, who cares what I think? What is the point? Do you know what I mean? That's what I would have thought. But it's interesting.
So there's a few things, there's a few reasons why I thought it'd be a great thing to do. But most definitely celebrating the 1,000 downloads. So I will welcome any reviews. If you loved this,
let me know if you want me back.
Yeah, if you loved this, give us a regular slot. Give us a 5-star review, and obviously, if you've got any questions for Clint or myself in regards to this topic, or you want to hear more from Clint, then let us know, and we will do some more. Have an amazing week, whatever you're doing, and I will catch you on the next podcast. Bye bye.
See you later.